Good evening, YouTube. How are you this evening? I am doing pretty well. I am sitting in the Pilot off of I-40 in beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee. It's been a long day. It was a very, very rough drive down here. As you know, yesterday I got a load out of Gary going to South Carolina. But I decided to stay in Gary overnight since it was already getting dark. And so I got up early. I think it was about 6. And I was going to start the vlog then, but I just didn't do it. Took a shower, pre-tripped the truck, did a bunch of other junk, wandered around, procrastinated really. And I left about 8. And took off. And amazingly enough, I figured I should have figured as much. That there was a lot of traffic around the Chicago area even that early on Saturday morning. So I started heading down this way and started the adventure of everybody, let's slow down for every construction zone that there was. Of course, you got to slow down. The speed limit's mostly 55 through them. But it was bad. Traffic was horrible. And most of the construction zones weren't even active. They weren't even active. And that sucks. So, it took quite a while to get down here. It's just a long, long, long day. But I'm not going to complain about that. What I'm going to complain about is this trailer. I didn't really realize it yesterday when I loaded it. And I kind of noticed it today. It seemed kind of long. And I went and checked it at one of my load checks, and sure enough, the trailer is a 53-foot split axle flatbed. I've never driven a 53-foot split axle flatbed before. I've driven a split 48, but not a 53, and I didn't even know they existed. I probably did know, but it never clicked because usually flatbeds are always shorter. And the alignment is off. So it's just been one thing after another today. The lane detection system kept beeping, because the trailer, which was pulling to the passenger side, would hit the stripe and kind of drag me over a little bit, so it started beeping. I finally got that under control after about 150 miles by trying to stick to the left. But then, trying to stay to the left, the lane detection system kept vibrating on this side, saying I was crossing the line, though it wasn't. So that was a chore. I'm gonna see if I can get a new trailer after I empty this load, but the likelihood is not very good. But that's not my biggest complaint. My biggest complaint is the on guard. I understand why it exists, and it is useful, especially since the fact that on the screen it tells you what your cruise control is set at, and since I really can't tell on the dash because nothing matches, and of course the 2 GPSs I have, the one on the Qualcomm and my Garmin Diesel, don't match. But my problem is that if you're pulling up to someone, they're going slower, it's automatically starting to brake. It warns you like once or twice, and then immediately starts to brake. If you're already braking and you're slowing down, and they're still slower than you are, say they're doing 55 and you're doing 60, and you're slowing down to the point, it just starts beeping and just won't shut up. Just won't shut up. And if you get like a little less than half a truck length away from them, then it starts applying the brakes. I can deal with that. It just means it's beating me to the punch when I start to slow down. It's trying to anticipate me slowing down and doing it for me. It's a time-saving thing, I guess. It's just trying to save me time, even though I don't want it to save me time. And if somebody whips out in front of me, slams on their brakes, I want that thing to kick in. That's fine. I'm good with that. And it actually happened once today. Amazingly enough, these people in Illinois, I thought people in Texas couldn't drive. Ooh, boy. But the one problem I have is going through the hills, coming down here, especially going through Kentucky and then here into Tennessee. You know how it is, big hills. If there's no one around me anywhere, and it's starting to go downhill, and it's getting into a curve, even if I'm going below the speed limit because I'm carrying a heavy ass coil, it starts beeping to me as soon as it sees the guardrail in 2 to 3 truck lengths ahead. I'm going to call and ask about that, see if there's something that I'm doing wrong that's doing it, because it would beep all the time. It beeps. It's been beeping when people pass me on the left side, on the left. If I'm, just on the straightaways, if I'm just tooling along 62, 63 miles an hour like I like to drive, and they come flying up behind me, or if they're just moseying along, but they're passing me. As soon as they get past the hood, it starts to beep. And once today, the guy passed me, and then we started into a curve, and as the curve started, the on-guard hit the brakes. So I'm not too fond of it at the moment, if you can tell. Not too fond at all. But otherwise, I do like it, because I do like the fact that it will control the cruise. It'll slow it down a little bit. If all the traffic is slowing down, and I'm kind of just following the pack, doing my 6-second following distance, it will tip down the speed. And then if I haven't done anything like hit the brakes or reset the cruise, once it clears up, it'll go right back to where it was. I do like that. I do like that a lot. So I guess that's enough of that. It's just been a weary day. Really, 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 really has. My biggest complaint is I really forgot, after all these years, that out here, a lot of these freeways are still 55. And some of them make sense. Some of them make sense. But some of them don't. And I also forgot that there are still split speed limits out here. Trucks versus cars. I had gotten used to the fact that Texas doesn't do splits anymore. And neither does any of the states surrounding Texas where I've been driving for the last couple of years. So it's really, really frustrating for me, who likes to obey the law, to step down to 55, 56, 56. Step down to 55 when it says, everybody else do 70, trucks do 55, or whatever it is. And have tons of trucks go flying past me, including the world's supposedly greatest drivers ever, Walmart private fleet. I was going through a 50 mile an hour posted zone. It wasn't construction, it wasn't anything like that. It was 50 mile an hour posted zone. And a Walmart private fleet driver blew past me. He had to be doing 65, which is what I think their trucks are governed at, 64, 65. I don't like it when people disobey the law. It causes more trouble than it solves. The speed limits are there for a reason. And I can already tell I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to stop rambling. So I got here to Knoxville a couple hours ago. Did the regular stuff, bought fuel, and parked the truck. I did something I'd never done before. I went online and reserved a parking space at this Pilot. I did it about 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe about 9 o'clock. I don't remember, but I went online and reserved one of those reserved parking spaces. Now, it did cost me $12 plus tax. I think it was 13 something and some change. And I could have used Pilot points if I'd had that many, but I had like $500 worth of Pilot points, but I spent them all on like a GPS and a new CB. But that was before I knew that the truck had a built-in GPS, the Co-Pilot by PC Miler. Though I'm kind of glad I have both, because the Garmin Diesel hooks up to traffic and weather and was able to route me around a freeway closure that, of course, PC Miler doesn't know about. I believe that was around Lexington, Kentucky, if I remember right. The ramps were closed, so you couldn't go from 65 to 64. You had to take the loop all the way around. So, well, this is a rambling one. My mind is just all over the place. Oh, so I spent the money and got the parking space, and that was pretty cool because I got here. It was right at about 6:30, and this place was already packed. Packed. There were like 4 spaces, and that was all. And they were in the process of being parked in when I got here. So I bought fuel first, which leads me to my other complaint. Now, don't get me wrong. I already love Maverick. I'm not going to be a cheerleader, but I love it here. It's already great. You know, remember I told you about the navigation in the Qualcomm? Well, I hadn't used it yet, and today when I stopped to do a load check, I decided to turn it on. When I turned it on, it automatically read the load information that I had gotten yesterday and pre-programmed my route for me. Now, how sweet is that? The only thing it didn't do was put in places to do load checks and where to sleep, since it's a 2-day trip. So, I like that part of it. But what I do not like is the fueling system here at Maverick. Now, I'm not sure why Maverick has it this way. Maybe it's cheaper, but it's not cheaper on driver time. Maverick is a cardless fueling company. So that means they have contracts, and I believe it's TCH, which I believe is now called EFS. TCH, EFS? I don't know. It used to be TCH. I know that much. I think it is EFS. But basically, all you need is your DOT number and a whole slew of other stuff to be able to buy fuel, DEF, and sundry accessories for said truck. Not only did I not know that you couldn't do it at the pump, which I think is a bummer, because if you have DOT, if you have cardless access and using the DOT at TA and Petro, you can punch the DOT number into the terminal. At least you used to, but we don't fuel at Petro or TA. So I'll never know if it's still that way. But basically, you got to park the truck and then get out, walk inside, stand in line, give said minimum wage cashier all your information, and they want everything. DOT number, company name, driver code, mileage, trip number, something else. I don't remember. Go through all that. So, and then go out to your truck, fuel it up. Then go all the way back in. It usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes to fuel 100 gallons plus DEF. 15 minutes tops. But it took me 35 minutes because I had to go inside and wait in line to give them my information, to turn the pump on, and then go out, do it, and then come back. That sucks. Sucks. So, Maverick, if you're listening, and I know that some of y'all management types are, because I've been told that you are, please think about maybe reinstituting cards. If you don't, cool, that's cool. I'll just live with it. But of all the things there is to love about the company, that's something I don't enjoy. I've only had to fuel once. It was really, really tiring. Now I remember why some of the guys in the break rooms were talking about having trouble fueling or whatever they were talking about. So, gonna be going to bed here soon. I'm gonna try and get up, take a shower, and leave before dawn, and so I can get to the Pilot down there north of Charleston before it fills up, because it doesn't have reserved parking. not according to the reserved parking website. But since I paid cash for this one, or credit in this case, I don't want to have to do it again. So I think I may have found an outlet for all the pilot points I get. Wi-Fi and parking. Because I have a tendency to, I don't buy food. I don't buy Subway or Wendy's or whatever. So I guess that's it. It's already longer than it should have been. Whatever. I guess I just talked too much. So if you like hearing me ramble, because I sure like hearing me ramble, go ahead and click the subscribe button and follow me. And hopefully in the future I'll have more fun things to say. If not, then if I'm just rambling, I'm just rambling. But once I get in the groove of driving here at Maverick, I will be able to come up with some good stuff. Oh, before I quit, kudos to TMC, or a TMC driver, who helped me park here at the Pilot. It's the first time I've ever backed up a split axle trailer, and it's not fun. Thank the Lord the space wasn't cramped. He gave me a few pointers. So even though he works for Till Maverick Calls or the Maverick cheerleaders, that TMC driver has my respect. Even though he was a bit surly. But hey, such is such. As I said, don't forget to subscribe and follow me. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below or email me, which is what most people do. Or send me a message on TTR. I'll get to the ones there as soon as I can, because I'm going to go to bed. I'm not getting on tonight. And until we talk again, keep the shiny side up, 73s. And I'll talk to you later. Ooh, eerie light.